In this video, I'm just going to run through an example of finding the angle between two vectors. So here we're given three vectors, and I want to compute the angle between u and v, and the angle between v and w. I also just want to compute u dot v. So let's do that first. Let's compute u dot v. Remember, this is, I look at the products of the respective components and add all these together. So u dot v will be square root of 3 times 1, that's square root of 3, plus 1 times square root of 3, that's another square root of 3, plus 0 times 0, that's 0. So this is 2 square root of 3. One thing we're going to need is magnitudes of u and v, so I'm going to go ahead and compute those as well. I'm just going to have these ready. Magnitude of u is looks like square root of 3 squared plus 1, so that's going to be square root of 4. Magnitude of u is 2. Same thing for the magnitude of v is also 2. So you can compute those in a little more detail if you like. It's not too hard to just work out those magnitudes. Okay, cool. We have magnitudes, we have the dot product. So let's find the angle between u and v. So remember that cosine of theta, if I use this, combining the two forms of the dot product, is u dot v over magnitude u times magnitude v. So magnitude u is 2, magnitude v is 2, and then u dot v is 2 square root of 3. So this gives me 2 square root of 3 divided by 4, that's square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of theta is equal to square root of 3 over 2. That's a positive quantity. You can, if you want, throw this into a calculator, but you should find this is 30 degrees or pi over 6 radians. Again, think back to the unit circle. So theta is pi over 6 radians or 30 degrees. So now we have the angle between these two vectors. Without having to draw them, without having to visualize them, we know exactly what the angle is between them. That's the power of these two forms of the dot product and the dot product as a whole. All right, so we also want to compute the angle between v and w, which means I'm going to need to figure out, let's see, what do we need to figure out? We're going to need the magnitude of w, that's involved, and we're also going to need the dot product of v and w. So down here, I'm going to find the magnitude of w. So that's what? Square root of 1 squared plus square root of 3 squared, that's 3, plus 2 square root of 3 squared, so that's 4 times 3, that's 12. 2 square root of 3 is the same as square root of 12. So that's 15, that's 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So magnitude of w is 4. And then what is v dot w? All right, well, that's going to be 1 times 1, 1, plus square root of 3 times square root of 3, that's 3, plus 0 times 2 square root of 3, that's 0. So it's just 4. All right, jumping back to this, I'm going to use, so theta is going to be the angle between u and v. I'm going to call that theta. I use that up here. Now, since I have a different angle, I don't want to use theta again. I'm going to use phi. So let's see then. Cosine of phi, the angle between v and w, will be v dot w over magnitude v times magnitude w. And let's see, we have these worked out now. This is going to be a theme in this class, by the way, is understanding what you need to compute first before embarking on the actual computation, doing all the little bits first, because there's a lot of little smaller computations that you do and then combined into bigger computations. We'll see this throughout the class, especially when we bring calculus into all of this. So cosine of phi is v dot w, that's 4 over 8 is 1/2. That's positive, so I know I'm between, my phi is between 0 and pi over 2. And in particular, cosine of phi being 1/2 means phi must be either 60 degrees. Remember that unit circle. If you haven't looked at it in a while, go look at it. We should know these by now. Phi being 60 degrees, or phi is, pi over 3 radians. We got to know these. Makes things a lot quicker. So now I know the angle between v and w. It's exactly 60 degrees, or pi over 3. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this little example, finding the angles between vectors. More discoveries about dot products in the next video. I'll see you there.